Corcoran Infinity Properties, part of the Corcoran Group in New York City. They're the largest real estate company in Manhattan. I own their Bergen County rights. We went into business about a year and a half ago, and we have 4 locations now, all in luxury neighborhoods. It's important to us, which communities we affiliate ourselves with, the same as probably you feel about new business owners in your town. We're in Alpine, I'm in Edgewater, Rivervale, and soon to be at 195 South Maple in Ridgewood. We do support the community the best we can. We do different charitable things in the neighborhoods we're in. An example of some stuff that we do, like every year we do a coat drive through the Bergen County Cares organization. We support them a lot. And I think we did 700 coats this year. And what's nice in the neighborhoods we're in, you'd be shocked at how nice they are when they come in. Some of them with the tags on them, but we clean them, we make sure, and we get them to families in need. But we do other things around the neighborhood to support the same thing. We become part of the community. That's what we believe. My agents are a lot of them live around here. Some in Ridgewood, to surrounding neighborhoods. So, they want to be a big part of, the town. I don't know what else to say. I've never done this before.
Well, welcome. You'll make a great contribution to our community. Thank you for coming.
And I thank you for having me. Most towns don't do this, so it's really nice that you're doing it, and I appreciate everyone, and I look forward to it.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Welcome. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statement of funds on hand as of December 31st, 2024 be accepted as submitted.
I second.
Mortimer,
Yes.
Perrin,
Yes.
Whites,
Yes.
and Winograd.
Yes.
We have no minutes for approval at this point, and we'll go on to proclamations. Councilwoman Winograd will read the proclamation for the Lunar New Year Festival.
So just before I begin, if you can't hear me because we're demoing new mics, give me the thumbs down. If you can hear me, is this better? Thanks, Nancy. Okay, great.
Oh, good.
Thanks. And do the same for Evan, too. Whereas the Ridgewood Asian American Pacific Islander AAPI Alliance is collaborating with the Ridgewood Chinese American Association, the Korean community of Ridgewood, and the Ridgewood Indian community to jointly produce the Lunar New Year festivals in the village of Ridgewood. And whereas the Lunar New Year Festival celebrates the diversity in the village of Ridgewood, promotes Asian culture, and uplifts the experience of AAPI friends in the village. And whereas 2025 is the year of the snake, symbolizing wisdom and transformation and offering opportunities for personal growth and change, and the AAPI and their partners welcome their neighbors to share this significant holiday with them and learn more about Asian cultures and history. Whereas the Lunar New Year Festival will be held on January 29th, 2025 in the Ridgewood High School Campus Center. Now therefore be resolved that the Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim, I think it's January 26th, as the Lunar New Year Festival in the village, and thanks the Ridgewood Asian American Pacific Islander Alliance, the Ridgewood Chinese American Associations, the Korean community, and the Ridgewood Indian community for sharing their cultures, their history within the village of Ridgewood, and wishes them a successful event. We had a typo on this, and I just want to say thank you for the invitation. I know it's the 26th because sadly it's my mother's birthday, and she wished you a happy Lunar New Year as well, and may it be wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.
And I would caution everyone, I know you guys sell it every year, so if folks want to go, you should get tickets now. I'm sorry, I have not responded. I will absolutely positively be there. I'm just figuring out who my family can accompany me, but this is one of my favorite events of the year, and like I said, if you want to go, you should get tickets soon because it's always a sellout.
And I just want to let you know, we'll correct that error in the proclamations, and we'll have copies of that for all of you after the mayor is back and he can sign them, okay? So I'll contact you, okay? Thank you.
Sure, we can. Sure.
Yeah.
Is it locked, though?
Sure. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this doesn't sound right, because I knew it was the 26th, so I switched it. So you got the 26th and the 29th, yes. How you doing? Good to see you. How are the babies? I have a live mic, you know. You get in the middle. No. Evan, come this side.
Ladies, be in the middle. We'll be on our side.
Hey, how you doing? Good.
Yeah, we got the actual proclamation. There we go.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
26 fine.
It's the 29th, but the festival is the Sunday. Okay. Do one more. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you. I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely, after.
I'll be waiting for you.
We'll get you a corrected copy, okay, all of you.
The next proclamation has to do with Jamboree Days, and as an alumna of Jamboree, I'm going to read it. Whereas Jamboree was established in 1947 by Ridgewood residents in order to raise need-based scholarships funds for Ridgewood High School students. And whereas Jamboree is an annual musical theatrical production that this year will have over 150 parent and guardian participants working on scene construction, painting, journal production, filming, photography, cooking, serving, props, costumes, vocal, choreography, behind the scenes, and performing. And whereas many volunteers, including producers, scriptwriters, photographers, musicians, choreographers, Jamboree board members, and other work behind the scenes throughout the year to create unforgettable Jamboree productions. And whereas the primary source of scholarship funding is through the sales of Jamboree Journal advertisements, and the annual journal is produced by dedicated volunteers, many of whom no longer have students in the school system. And whereas Jamboree participants generously and selflessly volunteer and donate time, talent, and services to ensure the production is not only entertaining, but also generates appropriate funding in support of need-based scholarships for graduating seniors to attend college. And whereas it takes countless volunteers to make Jamboree successful, including current parents of students, many Jamboree alumni, dedicated members of our village community, and student volunteers. And whereas the theme of the 49th Jamboree this year is Viva Las Vegas, celebrating the dazzle and excitement of the entertainment capital of the world. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood does hereby proclaim February 6, 7, and 8, 2025 as Jamboree Days in the Village of Ridgewood, and thanks the current and past volunteers who have participated in Jamboree and distributed over $2 million raised for scholarships since 2008 to numerous graduating Ridgewood High School seniors. And if you would like to purchase tickets, you can do so online by going to RHS Jamboree, and that's where you can also sign up to be a sponsor if you would like. If you have students in the high school, Jamboree is a wonderful production, regardless of whether you have no talent, as I did not, but I did learn how to walk on stilts. So you learn all kinds of things in Jamboree. All right. We will go to comments from the public now.
All speakers are limited to 3 minutes. All you have to do is identify if you're a Ridgewood resident.
Hi, my name is Hyunju Kwak. I'm a resident of Ridgewood. On behalf of the Ridgewood Asian American Pacific Islander Alliance, and you can see just a snapshot of the volunteers who work so hard and so tirelessly to bring this celebration to the village. Thank you so much for recognizing us. Thank you so much for the proclamation and your support, and we look forward to celebrating with everybody in the village on Sunday, January 26th at the Ridgewood High School Campus Center. Thank you so much.
Cynthia O'Keefe, Ridgewood resident. So I just wanted to address a few points, but before I get started, I want to congratulate this group so much for their dedication, and I look forward to attending the Lunar New Year. I couldn't go last year. I'm going to do my best to make it this year. And also, I did want to take a moment to just acknowledge, and I'm grateful that you acknowledge Paul Marcosian. He was a friend. He was somebody I met you know, when I first got involved in fighting the Shedler overdevelopment, and he was very supportive of our neighborhood. He was a good guy, always a smile on his face, and it's a real loss for our community. I was just texting with him last week, and you know, I'm still a little bit in shock that he's gone. But I wanted to address a few points from last week. We were talking about artificial turf and my concern that we now have a new council person who, you know, and again, not to pick on you, Frank, but you did say you wanted to create environmental standards and other things that other communities would look to, you know, Ridgewood and respect and maybe use us as a model. So I'd like to hear a little bit about, you know, what that entails, because I really don't understand if the council is still approving turf and not backing down and not, you know, falling on the sword, so to speak. And you're still marching forward despite, you know, doctors and other medical professionals who have cautioned against it. And you listen to Pam lay out some of the negative, you know, health impacts. How are we still marching in this direction? And why are we calling ourselves Green Ridgewood? Because it's greenwashing, in my opinion. So that's number one. You know, Siobhan, you mentioned getting tenants for the house. I don't think, you know, the overdevelopment plan and getting tenants for the house are mutually exclusive. I think, you know, they can be done. You know, you've already, think, expressed interest with the Bergen County Historical Society. Hopefully, you know, that would be a good fit. You know, I would love to see that as a neighbor. What we didn't want to see, and we expressed vehemently, is that we didn't want to see you know, a large field that would take away almost all of our trees. As I mentioned last week, we call ourselves the Tree City. I don't understand that. If having the number 38, ball field number 38, is more important than preserving a beautiful space that could really be turned into something that would be special for Ridgewood, where everybody could enjoy it, because that really is the goal. I don't understand why it has to be a giant turf field, and the field size actually doubled. And having said that, you know, I do attend all the field committee meetings, so I quickly want to add that Suburban Engineering, I believe, in the SHPO application said that Benjamin Franklin could not be further developed. Now we know that's not true, and that's not the case, so I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the room?
Good evening, Ann Loving, Ridgewood resident. I'd like to say something about the power of changing your mind and how there's no shame in doing so. Infant botulism was first identified in the 1970s. Prior to that, it was common practice to dip a baby's pacifier into honey to quiet the baby down. Then we learned that honey could carry Clostridium botulinum spores, which could kill a baby, which will kill a baby. So subsequent to the 1970s, we don't dip anything in honey, and in fact, honey bottles have warnings on them, at least most of them do, saying that you cannot give honey to a child under 1 year of age. Minds were changed because of new information. Car seats were first introduced in 1962, at least ones with safety features. Prior to that, there were no car seats. If you were to ask my grandmother, she'd say, what, car seat? You know, the baby just lies in the back seat or on the floor of the car. Now you wouldn't go anywhere without a car seat for your baby. And just 2 weeks ago, I learned that conventional wisdom was always that you get the baby in the car seat, let them go to sleep, let them stay there indefinitely. Now I find out that babies under 3 months can't be in a car seat for longer than 30 minutes maximum. And under 2 years, they can't be in it for more than 2 hours in a 24-hour period because of spine development as well as possibility of positional asphyxia. AstroTurf was introduced in the 1950s, and that was considered just an awesome new invention. Everybody loved it. But now we know, and as one of our 4 elected officials reminds us constantly, we know that it is not safe. There is no shame in changing your mind when new information comes forward. In fact, if 4 out of the 5 of you that are supporting TURF would change your mind, you would be applauded. You would be remembered forever as the council that took a stand when things changed, when knowledge changed and information changed. Just as you wouldn't put your kid in a car without a car seat, you should not be putting AstroTurf down. We know this now. You know, just as your grandmother and probably my mother put honey in my mouth, you would never do that now because we know better. And now we know better about turf, and I really hope you'll consider changing your minds because we'll all applaud you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Nancy Brennan Hale, Ridgewood. I came to say thank you, and I just looked up the number. It's 4030, Tree Protection Removal and Replacement Ordinance. The Shade Tree Commission and Siobhan put an awful lot of work into getting this thing together, and I understand that you're on the verge of making it a reality, and my appreciation to all of you for that, and for all that you've done for trees in the last few years. I think we've had a big change in Ridgewood in the number of trees that are planted, and also in how we're realizing how valuable they are, and just doing things to support the canopy. Thanks. And I did like the story about changing your mind a lot.
Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else?
Hello, I'm Amy from Ridgewood. They were so nice. I don't mean to come
Amy,
across...
I'm sorry, your last name?
McCambridge. After last week, hearing you guys speak, you've repeatedly dismissed environmental risks. You've pushed false narratives and ignored your responsibility to be truthful and transparent with your constituents. I'm just going to start with last week because there's just so much. Winograd, you claim that the council's efforts to reach out to Dr. Sarah Evans regarding the Mount Sinai reports, that you guys reached out and you tried. That's not true. I spoke to her. She said nobody has reached out at all. I will be meeting with her next week, and I will let everyone know what she has to say, and I will be setting up a meeting for the public to make sure that they get to hear from her. Also, you stated that the council uses Shaw Industries for turf fields, as if that somehow makes them safer than any other vendors. Let it be known to the public that Shaw Industries is currently involved in multiple lawsuits due to PFAS contamination in their products. Choosing a vendor tied to such litigation doesn't make this decision any less dangerous. It makes it even more irresponsible. Mortimer and Evan, you claim turf fields are safe because the EPA doesn't have any federal regulations. Let's be real. This is the same EPA that allowed lead, paint, asbestos, tobacco, and PFAS to harm millions of people before finally acting. What you did fail to mention, however, that is in March 2024, the EPA officially classified 2 PFAS compounds, PFOA and PFOS, as hazardous substances under the Superfund law. So what is that? Let's look at Love Canal. What happened? In the 1940s, a chemical company buried toxic waste in the area. By the 1970s, homes and schools were built upon that site. Toxic chemicals began leaching into basements and groundwater, causing widespread illness, birth defects, and cancers. The disaster prompted the creation of the Superfund program in 1980. Let's look at the Hanford site, where radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project is still leaking into the environment decades later. Why? Because leaders ignored the risks and they failed to act. Ridgewood is heading in the exact same path. And here's the kicker. You guys don't even know how bad the contamination is because you have never tested the 3 rivers that flood, the 3 fields that flood directly into our rivers. So you have no idea if there's those 2 compounds, which would make this, if they are present in that soil and in that river, this becomes a national emergency. That's how serious this is. Mortimer and Evans, you also claimed that turf is safer for kids than grass, that more injuries happen on grass. I'm a soccer trainer. I'm here to tell you I have 3 8th graders with torn ACLs. I had kids tonight caught on the turf burns. It's just a flat out lie. I'm going to quote Travis Kelce, who said, "I would rather practice in thunderstorms with a chance of getting struck by lightning than to run inside on the turf." Roger Goodall, who's the NFL commissioner, is saying that they want to go on science. Over 90% of our players, this is what he said, prefer to play on grass. These are NFL players with access to the best data, and they're demanding grass fields because of the risk turf poses.
If you could wrap it up, please.
Okay, we have seen this story play out before in places like Hanford and every community that ignored warnings before it was too late. They accumulate, PFAS accumulates in our bodies, causing harm we may not fully understand for decades, but then it will be too late. Don't let Ridgewood become the next cautionary tale. Do the testing, clean up the contamination, and stop pretending that these fields are anything but a direct threat to our health and our future.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to remote comment. Rurik Halaby, you're up next. You're still on mute. There you go. We're not hearing anything. Mark? Oh.
Wait. Nope.
Okay, we should be hearing Rurik any second now.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
there
now
you
we
go.
hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Rurik Halaby, village resident. First, let me thank you for reintroducing hybrid meetings. They allow an octogenarian like me to participate without braving the elements. Second, regarding the quality of sound in the courtroom, yes, it's a problem that has been discussed before, many times before. And I think it is the acoustics in the room and the speakers, not necessarily the mics. I do have a problem listening when I'm physically in the room, but I have no problem when I attend by Zoom. I cannot explain that. By the way, I wrote to Dylan in early December, and he mentioned how the vendor will be addressing the problem in early 2025. And I urge you to go ahead with that. I also mentioned to Dylan how it would be great for FiOS, channel 34, at least we get FiOS, not Optimum, to be broadcast in HD and to cover more meetings, such as Green Ridgewood. Also to cover select cultural events in the city, in the village, like the Jamboree and Friends of Music, etc. I think it would be great, and frankly, for the channel to be renamed the Ridgewood channel or something to that effect. I have some ideas about Shedler, but you have a long agenda, and I'll wait towards a second series of public comments to make comments, if you will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Anyone want to respond here?
Are we closing public comment?
Yeah, we'll close public comment now. Any responses?
I do. Does anybody want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to say a couple things in order. So with respect to Shedler, the plan has to go in totality, so they're not exclusive, but we need to start focusing on the other elements of the plan regarding the plantings around the house, how much driveway we cover, the access to that, that's all in the plan. We won't send a part for the field to be approved and then go to the walking path. It's going to go as a complete and total comprehensive plan. So I too love the Bergen County proposal. I also love the newcomers proposal, and Keith, we're going to get those on the agenda soon. I feel that the plan for the public will be more bona fide if we have a future use for the house. That being said, a significant spend has occurred. It's $2.6 million. Both of those entities won't pay us any rent. So at best, what we would have is a tenant to help defray maintenance, make sure that the house is okay, because that's a serious concern for me, is that the longer it's empty, the more likely something is to happen. So the plan will go in its totality. I believe future uses are going to be combined. I'd like to, just spoiler alert, have that village discuss Bergen County Historical and newcomers, because it was originally, when you read back, it was supposed to be a meeting and gathering place. The other important part of this is that since the inception of the purchase of the property, it was never to preserve. It was never to be a preservation. At that point in time, the purchase of the property and the Schottmeyer property was all expressly, everything that we went for to Bergen County was for recreational use. So it will be used for recreation, and it had a balance of passive, but it was never to be a preservation piece. So we can't turn it into kind of King's Pond, because that wasn't what the public used public funds for in 2009. Suburban Engineering is our firm. The Board of Ed has hired a supplemental architect. I don't know their name. The study that was referenced at the Fields was from a Board of Ed update, and while I sit on that, I can't speak to the Board of Ed. Suburban Engineering is ours. The BF is the Board of Ed's property, so I'm not even sure what the name of the vendor is, but I would contact the Board of Ed and find out who that engineering firm is. We did reach out to Sarah Evans. In fact, at Fields, the idea was discussed of having an event at the library with, multifaceted discussion. Pam was the key point person there, and we haven't heard from her. So if you are able to get in touch with her, with Shedler, we're very mindful that there's different positions here, and to be fair to the process, Pam and I go in together, and so each position is represented in a side meeting. So it would never be me and Evan, because we're both pro-turf. So when we meet with people, we go in. So Pam, we have not heard from her. We would like to hear from her. We would love the idea of the discussion at the library and public information, but balanced with two people there. And we discussed that with the Board of Ed at the Fields meeting as well. So we would welcome any help in making the connection, and Pam will speak to that. With respect to Shaw and what was said, sometimes it's very hard for a general taxpayer to distinguish the land between the Board of Ed and the village. So I was making a statement, we do not use field turf from the village. That's just a statement of clarification because it was coming in this way. Our vendor is Shaw. That being said, because there'll be public bidding when this goes forward, we have not chosen a vendor for Shedler yet because we don't have approval. So that's that. And then lastly, I do want to say, to Verrick's point, if anybody ever has it, I went home last week and listened to it. It is true, the audio at home is so much better. So if you're ever here and you miss something, we do record these. You can go back to it, and it's sort of fascinating that the sound is better at home. But I'm hoping this is improved. I'm hoping Evan and I are doing better, and I want to thank our staff for providing this. So that's it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I just want to say is that I'm quoting studies. So when I talk about my position, it's not my opinion. It's actually peer-reviewed journals that I'm quoting. So for instance, like it's maximizing the durability of athletic fields by Miller from North Carolina Cooperative Education publication, blah, blah, blah. And he states, that's who says 1,000 hours a year in significant grass loss, field surfaces damage, and increases the potential of athlete injury. So I respect that we have different opinions, but I'm quoting scientific studies. So we can disagree on where we stand, but I'm not a liar, and I'm not making this up.
And with that, we're going to close public comment again, and we'll go on to the village manager's report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and good evening, everyone. I don't have too much on the manager's report tonight. I will just note some highlights on the agenda. We do have 38 resolutions tonight on the consent agenda from Ridgewood Water. This will enable Rich Calby and his team to hit the ground running in 2025. Most importantly, I think, is the award of the contract for hydraulic services and also for replacement of water service lines. This is going to move us forward in both of those areas, try to up the pressure, especially up on top of the hill in Midland Park, in addition to our lead service line project. So I just want to thank the council for their tolerance at the last work session. I know there was a lot on there for Ridgewood Water, but this is certainly going to propel us forward this year. On the regular consent agenda and under ordinances, as Nancy Brennan Hill pointed out already, we have the introduction of the tree ordinance, which I know the Shade Tree Commission and the council have been working on for many months now. Glad that that is finally getting introduced. On the consent agenda, we have now the approval of the Board of Education and concurrence from the county to place the bus shelter in front of Ridgewood High School. So that project is going to be moving forward with the approval of that resolution tonight. In addition, we talked at length last week about stationing a 4th paramedic response team from Valley Hospital at our EMS building on Douglas Place, so that when our residents do call 911, they're receiving a much faster response from a paramedic unit coming from Ridgewood rather than coming from Paramus. And finally, as we talked about in closed session, also added to tonight's agenda is the Social Services Association lease. They've agreed to all of the terms that the village put forward. I want to thank Heather and Chris Rudishauser for their work in that space, but we will be able to approve that tonight as it was presented in the prior closed session. One other item before I get to the announcements. I do have 4 letters, each from the sports organizations in Ridgewood. We have the Maroon Soccer Club. This is all relative to the field lighting project here on Vets Field. There was a lot of discussion last year about the possibility of extending this project to the varsity girls softball field. I know Mayor Vagianos has had a number of conversations with the leaderships of these sports groups, in addition to speaking with representatives from the Board of Education about contributing to this project so that we can extend the field lighting to the softball field. We have a $10,000 commitment from the Maroon Soccer Club. We have a $10,000 commitment from the Ridgewood Lacrosse Association. We have a $10,000 commitment from RJFA, the Football Association here in the village, and we have a $17,000 commitment from Ridgewood Baseball and Softball Association. So with the council's indulgence, we do have a special public meeting on January 29th embedded in the work session. I'd like to ask Heather to put a resolution together accepting these donations. We should also have some response from the Board of Education by that date. They meet on the 27th. And we will be able to finalize the proposal with Musco for the extension of the lights on the softball field. So I'm hoping that with a little luck on our side, we'll be able to wrap up that whole discussion on the 29th with action. And while Musco is mobilized on Veterans Field, we can finish the job and add the lighting to the girls softball field. Under announcements tonight, we have the annual parking permits, which are being sold daily in the lobby downstairs here in Village Hall. Please bring your driver's license and your registration for each of the vehicles in which you wish to purchase a permit. Christmas tree pickup is ongoing, Tuesday on the east side and Thursday on the west side through the end of the month. If you would like, you can also drop your Christmas tree off at the Graydon Pool parking lot. The Chamber of Commerce Restaurant Week continues week 1 through tomorrow night. And then next week, Monday through Thursday, please come out, enjoy a delicious meal at a reduced price while supporting our restaurants here in the village. The Village of Ridgewood and all village offices will be closed this Monday, January 20th, for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. The recycling center will be also be closed, and there will be no curbside bulk pickup this week. The legal documents program will be held here on Village Hall on Thursday, January 23rd at 10:30 a.m. in the Youth Lounge. We ask people to go on and sign up through Community Pass. Just some reminders, if we do get snowfall or an ice storm, all sidewalks in residential districts are to remove the snow within 24 hours of the snow falling. And garbage pickup during snow and ice events, we ask people to please place your garbage cans at the end of your driveway until you have a clear path to them. This keeps our village employees safe. Upcoming village council meetings, we have January 29th as a work session, February 5th is a work session, February 10th is a public meeting, February 26th is a work session, all begin at 7:30 p.m. I also want to add that we have solidified our budget meeting schedule. We will be meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd, Monday, February 3rd, Wednesday, February 19th, Thursday, February 27th, and we will, if needed, meet on Monday, March 3rd. All of those meetings will begin at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers, and we plan to introduce the ordinance tentatively at our public meeting on Wednesday, March 12th, and adopt the 2025 municipal budget on April 9th. That's all I have, Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
Keith, what were you saying was the event with legal documents?
So, Heather, I don't know if you have more information about this, no? It's a legal documents program. I believe it's sponsored by the Recreation Department because it comes through Community Pass. But what they will talk you through is you'll learn more about the 4 legal documents that everyone should have handy and available. And they will walk this through, and I think this is a targeted program for our senior community.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that makes
it's a
more sense.
will, a power of
Yeah.
attorney, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that concludes my report.
And Councilman Mortimer, do you have reports?
Yes, I attended my first committee as liaison was Open Space, which was last Thursday, which was exciting to be there. That after just getting to know everybody, that we celebrated that the town garage came down, and we had a special secret handshake to celebrate that. And what's interesting, and this is what's exciting to me, as the council will be able to figure out what should go there next. And we actually had a resident come in that, and the catalyst for him coming was the garage came down, and he spoke about how great it would be if we had a permanent skateboard park, like a cement one, and went on about the benefits of that versus what's available at the skate rink. Additionally, that we talked about what park walks will be going on for 2025 and what our goals will be for 2025. I also, last night, with Evan, I went to the Ridgewood Arts Council and talked about, they're going to have an event again called Children in the Arts, which will be on March 30th, and that'll be at the Stable. And it'll be children that are actively involved in different aspects, either dancing or singing or acting, and just how they got there and why they enjoy it so much. There's going to be an event with John Luckenbill at the library, so it'll be more to talk about, again, his passion for music and all that. Tomorrow is my first citizen safety meeting, which I'm looking forward to as well. And then last, I wanted to say that this past weekend, that my one daughter needed her passport renewed, and we went to the library to get it done, and it was awesome. So I just wanted to say to all the residents, if you're looking for a quality experience to renew your passport, go to the library, because it was great. It was called in, and it was so much different than going to the post office. And that concludes my report, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. And if I recall correctly, you can renew your passport at the library, but you can't get one.
I don't know that. I just know we renewed hers.
You know, from the beginning.
I think that's right, but I don't think you can apply for one, but you can renew an existing.
Yeah.
But they can take your picture there and everything, so it was perfect.
Good. Council Member Winograd?
Thanks, Pam. So I want to begin by thanking the members of the Fields Committee for their generous donation. That's $47,000 to a project that will ensure our girls play under the lights. So thank you to them, and thank you to Keith and everybody who made it happen, Nancy and the Fields Committee. It's really exciting to see that much money come in from people who are users of the field. I have a couple committee reports. Last evening, Deputy Mayor Perrin and I went to the library's event sponsored with Access to see a documentary called Patrice. So currently in the state of New Jersey and in the United States, there's a marriage penalty clause when two members of the special needs community want to get married. The documentary was incredibly moving, funny, vibrant. It was not just about the marriage equality and the need within the special community, but a lot of hurdles and the lack of dignity in the process for special needs. Patrice is a local crossing guard in the state of New Jersey. There were several members of Ridgewood featured because we have a young couple that participated in the commitment ceremony. They were there last night. And I just want to, it's available on Hulu, and I know that because I left and I watched the rest of it from home today, and Pam stayed for the discussion because I had Shade Tree. It's a very valuable film. It's very well done. And again, I think everybody should watch it and think about it and begin to have a discussion, because love is truly amazing. It really is. And it was a beautiful event. And I'm just very grateful, again, to the Ridgewood Public Library and the Access Committee, who keeps these discussions really tactile and personal. So that's it. It's right here. If you want a copy of it, I can give it to you. After Patrice, I went to Shade Tree, where we went over a lot of things. One, I want to thank Nancy Left, but most especially Shade Tree and George Wolfson of Highlight and the Ordinance Committee, who put forth this wonderful amendment to the Shade Tree Protection, or the Tree Protection Ordinance. We discussed a lot of things with the budget season coming up. There's still the clamoring for the tree sheriff. Just everyone, the ordinance is great, but they really want to talk about enforcement. We have centered around the fact that Shade Tree is doing many good things, from saplings to whips to trees, and we're going to, on Arbor Day with Communications, launch a full e-blast highlighting how to get any of these things, or all of them, a sapling, a tree, what's the difference. Additionally, the Shade Tree Commission wants to present to planning. So in addition, planning focuses a lot on personal trees, but we want to talk about the importance of some of the planning and driveway placement that we've seen and some of the new developments. So thank you to everybody on Shade Tree. They keep me very busy, and there's going to be a lot coming out of that. On Monday night, I had a meeting with Project Pride. Project Pride discussed many things in the downtown. For the winter, we're going to be demoing wrapping the lampposts in white lights. So, rather than have sort of a bare, stark lamppost with a kissing ball on top, we're looking to get more lights in there. We're also looking to upgrade. We're going to create 3,600 new bows for the kissing balls in conjunction with the high school, and we're going to replace them. We had a lot of ideas about winter, which is circulating. Pam, you'll get that for CBDAC. And then we talked about summer. We're going to be looking at and partnering with the police department to upgrade some of our pots. So, the larger the pot, the less likely it needs to be water, because it'll retain the water. And I want to thank everybody who took part in it. If anybody has any ideas, we're welcome. We'd love it. The more beautiful our downtown is, the more vibrant it is, and the more economically robust it will be. So I think that's it for me, and that's it.
Okay. Councilman Weiss?
Great. A couple of things I can update the public on. So last week I attended the Board of Ed meeting that we have between the council and representatives of the Board of Ed, or representatives of the council with representatives of the Board of Ed. Really great meeting. I know, Keith, you talked about some of the lighting. More to come on that. I know there's going to be a vote by the Board of Ed on the 27th. I look forward to being able to kind of brief everyone on all the behind-the-scenes stuff going on. But I think everyone, when they know what's going on, will be very proud of, I think, a lot of the collaboration that's going on in the community in order to find the money to make sure that we not only light the soccer fields, but also the girls' softball fields. And I think we're going to get it done this year. And as I've said before, just really good, boring government. Just really good stuff. Historical Preservation Committee met this week, really great meeting, 2 new businesses coming into town, and then 2 residential applications. I'm always impressed by the quality of our volunteers, and HPC is really no exception to that. As Frank mentioned, I did the handoff last night for Ridgewood Arts Council. I've had the privilege of being liaison to the RAC for the last 2 years. As part of the reorganization meeting, I took over Cash Shell from Lorraine, and then had to give up RAC in favor of Frank. As I've told Frank, you're inheriting a wonderful organization with wonderful people. I know they'll do really well, and Frank, really glad that you're stepping up and taking over the RAC. And again, just a wonderful group that I will absolutely be attending, maybe not the meetings, but I will be at all their events because they're always really, really good. And then finally, as some of you may have picked up, I am super excited because as Keith said, we're kicking off budget season soon. And yes, I am a huge nerd, but I'm always amazed at how little attention our budget meetings get. In my view, they're probably more important than most of our actual council meetings. I would encourage all of you to come see how the sausage is made, tune in, come in person, ask questions, find stuff that we don't find in that massive budget. This is the most important thing in my view that we do as a council, and I am not embarrassed to say that I am incredibly excited for budget season kicking off next month, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Evan. I also enjoy the budget meetings because you get to meet the heads of departments and you really see who creates this living, breathing municipality that we have. This week was my last meeting with the Open Space Committee, and I'm proud to be leaving it in very good hands. Green Ridgewood, which I'm keeping, met this week with the Green team, and we talked about the town garage, what could possibly go there next, that the Corps of Engineers work for us has been funded. We will be meeting with other Bergen County environmental commissions on the 28th. They're called the Hub, and that should be a very good meeting. I think Rich Calby and Sean Hamlin will be speaking, along with Lois Kraus, who heads the Advocates for Transitional Landscaping. We also talked about Rutgers Extension can help us figure out a way to, we're asking them to figure out a way to measure what effect rain gardens have, and also what takes priority, affordable housing or the environment. And our next meeting will be February 6th in the Senior Lounge. The Planning Board will be holding a reorganization meeting on January 21st. And that's all I have in terms of updates. So now we will go on to ordinances. We have no ordinances from Ridgewood Water for introduction or for public hearing. And we'll go on to the resolutions for Ridgewood Water. These are on a consent agenda. Heather?
The following resolutions, number 25-38 through 25-76, are to be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. They will be read by title only. Award sole source contract, Cube Software for Ridgewood Water Automated Customer Collection Process. Award contract, East Side Distribution Water Main Replacement. Title 59 approval, replacement of water service line main to curb. Award contract, replacement of water service line main to curb. Title 59 approval, tree maintenance services. Award contract, tree maintenance services. Title 59 approval, furnishing and delivering sodium hypochlorite. Award contract, furnishing and delivering sodium hypochlorite. Title 59 approval, line stop and valve insertion services. Award contract, line stop and valve insertion services. Title 59 approval, servicing and repair of potable water wells and pumping facilities. Award contract, servicing and repair of potable water wells and pumping facilities. Title 59 approval, pipe and appurtenances. Award contract, pipe and appurtenances. Title 59 approval, infrared asphalt surface repair. Award contract, infrared asphalt surface repair. Title 59 approval, concrete pavement and sidewalk restoration. Award contract, concrete pavement and sidewalk restoration. Title 59 approval, cold water meters and accessories. Award contract, cold water meters and accessories. Title 59 approval, asphalt trench repair. Award contract, asphalt trench repair. Title 59 approval, annual PFAS laboratory analysis services. Award contract, annual PFAS laboratory analysis services. Title 59 approval, annual laboratory analysis services. Award contract, laboratory analysis services. Title 59 approval, landscaping services. Award contract, landscaping services. Title 59 approval, servicing and repair of electric source. Award contract, servicing and repair of electric source. Title 59 approval, water billing and data collection services. Award contract, water billing and data collection services. Award contract under Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing, material and supplies, facilities maintenance, repair, operating supplies and janitorial supplies. Award contract under county contract, materials and supplies for water main repairs. Award contract under state contract, field service for equipment for monitoring and reporting water quality testing. Award professional services contracts, SCADA system, software and support. Award professional services contract, hydrogeologic consulting services. Authorized change order, water service line replacements, main to curb, and refund water overpayment, 345 Manor Road. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I second it.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
I move the first reading of ordinance 4028.
May I have a second?
I second it.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 4028 by title?
An ordinance to amend salary ordinance 3908, an ordinance to fix salaries, wages, and other compensation of and for blue-collar employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey. Salary ordinance 4021, an ordinance to fix salaries, wages, and other compensation of non-union employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey for the year 2025. And salary ordinance 4022, fixing the salaries and wages and other compensation and to establish the employment agreement of certain non-union officers and employees of the Village of Ridgewood, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey for the year 2025.
I move that ordinance 4028 be adopted on the first reading and that February 10th, 2025 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
I move the first reading of ordinance 4029.
I second it.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 4029 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, Stop Intersections.
I move that ordinance 4029 be adopted on the first reading and that February 10th, 2025 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
I move the first reading of ordinance 4030.
I second it.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 4030 by title?
An ordinance to rescind and replace in its entirety Chapter 260 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Trees and Shrubs, and previously adopted ordinance number 3682, which amended Chapter 260, and to establish a new title for Chapter 260, Tree Protection, Removal, and Replacement.
I move that ordinance 4030 be adopted on the first reading and that February 10th, 2025 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I proudly second this motion.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
This is a big step forward. With each iteration of this ordinance, it gets better and better for the environment and for our community. So yes, I vote in favor.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Of course, yes.
I move the first reading of ordinance 4031.
Second.
I second it.
Mortimer?
Yes.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
So ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 4031 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 3 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Administration of Government, Article 5, Departments at Section 3-43, Police Department.
I move that ordinance 4031 be adopted on the first reading and that February 10th, 2025 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Mortimer?
Yes, I vote yes with a statement that I think it's great that we continue to make our schools safer.
Perrin?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
And Winograd?
Yes.
The following resolutions, numbered 25-77 through 25-95, will be adopted by consent agenda with one vote by the village council. They will be read by title only. Authorize tax assessor, tax collector to file appeals and/or settlement stipulations. Award contracts, 2025 recreational program instruction. Title 59 approval, landfill disposal of solid waste. Award contract, landfill disposal of solid waste. Award contract under state contract, purchase, installation, and repair of vehicles and equipment, police department. Authorized change order, additional restoration of pavement at Chestnut Street Garage. Award contract, Diamond Sea Trailer, Parks and Recreation. Authorized shared services agreement, maintenance and repairs, police motorcycles with Paramus. Authorized installation of New Jersey Transit Bus Shelter at Ridgewood High School, and authorized execution of agreements. Authorized execution of agreement for use of 33 Douglas Place by the Valley Hospital paramedics. Accept donation, enhanced programming at the Ridgewood Community Center. Authorized application for New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, Local Recreation Improvement Grant, and execution of grant agreement. Enhanced Graydon Park Skate Park. Authorized endorsement of Community Development Block Grant, Share Inc., roof repairs, 130 Prospect Street. Authorized endorsement of Community Development Block Grant, Share Inc., roof repairs, 104 Cottage Place. Authorized endorsement of Community Development Block Grant, Children's Aid and Family Services, installation of generator, 29 Washington Place. Authorized endorsement of Community Development Block Grant, Children's Aid and Family Services, replacement of HVAC system, 29 Washington Place. Authorized endorsement of Community Development Block Grant, Family Promise of Bergen County, accelerating family futures with job readiness. Authorized execution of lease for Social Services Association's use of Ridgewood Train Station for food pantry, and appoint member to Shade Tree Commission. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I second it.
Okay. Mortimer?
Yes.
Whites?
Yes.
Winograd?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed Perrin. I apologize.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Heather, I think you did more speaking tonight than all of us did.
Yeah.
I think so.
And with that, we will go back to public comment.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Boyd A. Loving, Ridgewood. I'd like to thank the council and Mr. Hanson, who I believe is in the back of the room, and the manager, for promptly addressing my comments concerning the audio in the room that I made during last week's meeting. I did notice an improvement tonight. I could hear Councilman White's a lot better than I had been able to hear in
Was
the
that a good
past.
thing or a bad thing?
We'll talk about that later. And I noted that Councilwoman Winograd was able to stand up, and I could still hear her fine, even though she was away from the permanent microphone. So it does sound like maybe you've got a fix. I respectfully disagree with the gentleman who called in and said it's not a microphone problem. I do think it's a microphone problem. When the audio from the call-ins is played, it's heard perfectly. But for some reason, the audio that's being picked up by the microphones isn't being broadcast in the room. Not sure what it is, whether it's a microphone, the amplifier, but it appears as though you're working your way to addressing that issue, and I do appreciate that, because it is extremely difficult to hear in the room what is being said. The other comment I'd like to make is with respect to the bus shelter. There are 3 homes located on East Ridgewood Avenue that their front doors will be able to see that shelter, and I'm just wondering if you would do the courtesy of providing those 3 homes with what they're going to be seeing now. They're going to be looking out into a little bit different of a landscape. Perhaps you can get some photos of what the shelter's going to look like and pass it along to the 3 homeowners there, so they're not shocked when this thing goes up. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I see you're taking notes, Keith. Anyone else? We have one person on remote. Rurik Halaby, you're on.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Rurik Halaby, village resident. Just a brief comment about changing our minds. I do hope the 4 of you stick to your guns because you're right, and people will come to your position. I can't believe that the 4 of you are irresponsibly ignoring the safety and health of children playing or the environment. I know two of you have young children who are very active in sports. One of you has a son who is a champion soccer player who cut his teeth playing on the Ridgewood playing fields. You have thousands and thousands of children and the sports groups who represent them who are so much in favor of turf, the turf fields. And these are not irresponsible people. They are not uncaring or about the environment, etc. So stick to your course. You're doing the right thing. There's a lot of fear mongering, a lot of twisted facts, a lot of half-truths that are being bandied around. But you are four strong people, and I say stick to your guns. Thank you very much.
James. Your name and town of residence, please, James.
Yes, hi, this is Susan Ruan. I'm a Ridgewood resident. I'm calling in regard to the residential flood committee, which I was excluded from even though I advocated for it, was the initial person. I realized on the website there's no information about it, nor any meeting dates. So when will that be posted? Thank you.
All right. Does anybody want to respond here from the dais?
Sure. Do you want to do flood or you want me to?
I will.
Okay.
You're going to close public comment first?
Oh, excuse me. Let's close public comment, and now we'll take responsive statements.
So we've established the date. The first meeting, which we just established at the end of last week, the first flood committee meeting will be 4 o'clock on January 22nd. Again, we're establishing this, so this is going to be a step-by-step process. Councilmember Winograd is the liaison from the council to that committee. So we are going to meet with them. We're going to talk through what the best schedule is going to be. I think the intention initially is to meet quarterly so that we can prepare our advocacy plan with the Army Corps, with the Congressional Office, with the state legislative offices, and we will establish the rest of the meeting dates once we meet on January 22nd. And I will make sure that Carol posts that on the website. She was out last week due to vacation, but I'll make sure that that committee meeting is properly posted.
And that concludes our agenda, except for a resolution to go into closed session.
Be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on January 15, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter on the agenda can be reached. And the said closed session be held in the caucus room on the 4th floor of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to personnel matters to include appointments to boards and committees. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 at sec. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public when such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Evan. I was gonna say,
Okay. 8:37.